about Adames giving his countryman a title shot?
I think it would be a really hard pill to swallow for the other contenders in the division, younger, hungrier guys who are coming up, to have that happen. Again, name recognition goes a long way, but I don't know how much name recognition even Carlos Adames has that he could be able to fight a guy like Rosario.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Boxing Scene's Top Stories. I am George D. Metellus. Reminder to download the app because the app is the best way to experience all the great action and activity we have here on ProBox TV. Get the app where apps are available. I am joined by the champions. We got Chris Algieri and we got Paulie Malignaggi here on Top Stories. Well, yesterday's main event of Wednesday Night Fights turned out to be a great one with JEISON Rosario and JARRETT HURD fighting to a draw. All right, Paulie, where do both guys go from here after this fight?
Not really sure. Sometimes when there's a draw, there's a demand for a rematch, and let's figure out what that did. I don't think this fight did anything for anybody, and I don't think a rematch will do anything for anybody. They seem the only thing we got as a solution to this fight is, okay, we realize that they are not anywhere near where they used to be. Now, the fact they didn't take an L last night, nobody took an L, and the fact that both guys came off a draw, now are coming off a draw, means that both can be viable to probably still be in the title picture, just for this on the basis that they are ex-world champions, and on the basis that 160-pound division is kind of dry as far as world-class title challengers being available, and guys who would sort of bring attention to the 160-pound division. Their names will bring attention to the 160-pound division. As far as what they did, I don't really think they convinced anybody last night, I'll be honest with you. And the only people that are probably convinced of anything are the champions at 160, because they're probably looking at this and be like, oh, this could be an easy defense against these guys, and possibly, it'll be name recognition on my resume to fight against these guys. I'll be honest, as far as ProBox TV main events, we have had some barn burners. We've had some top level, and this fight last night proves that it's not so much the name reputations of fighters that will always give you the best fights. We've got a lot of fringe contenders on the network that have gone on to become world champions, guys who have been ex-champions that we've had on as well. We put for the first time together last night not one, but two ex-world champions against one another. And in terms of comparison to what we've had before, all the other fights, didn't really match up, So name recognition doesn't always equal the excitement value once you get in the ring and the styles come together. You want hungry fighters. And that's the thing. A lot of times fighters on their way back down trying to hang around for one last shot, they're not really as hungry. They're just kind of trying to see if they can, like I said last night on the broadcast, they fight more not to lose instead of to win. I thought Rosario pushed it a little more than HURD. I thought HURD showed more ability but didn't push it quite as much. So the draw was kind of the right decision. But you put these guys in a world-class fight. I feel like Rosario looked kind of shot, but he pushed hard. He tried hard, harder. And he didn't try hard, but he tried harder. HURD, maybe not as shot, showed a little bit of ability with the shoulder roll and the jab, a little bit of a craftiness there, even more than we've seen in the past in that way. But he didn't push you. It wasn't the same HURD. He didn't push you the same way. He wasn't as hungry, I think that as far as world champions are concerned, they'll probably look at these guys and say, I can beat these guys, and it'll be a name on my resume. One thing I'll say, one wild card I'll say, Lara and HURD have had a great fight when they first fought years ago. Lara's a bit of an older world champion himself. You still might be able to see that rematch.
Yeah, champ. I was saying before the broadcast, whoever wins this fight is going to set themselves into a title shot, and I agree. I still think that would have been true. But now that they've actually fought a draw against each other, they kind of cancel each other out. They've neutralized their forward momentum, and they're basically where they were before, except now they've actually been active. At this point, I don't think either one of them is going to get a title fight. But now they'll actually be fed to someone else on the way up. And in terms of what we saw in terms of their ability last night, I agree with you, champ. They're nowhere near what they used to be. Both used to be very good fighters. Used to be great fighters, actually. They were far removed from that. Maybe it could be busting off the rust. Maybe it could have just been inactivity, but I'm not quite sure about that either. So in terms of stepping into another title fight, potentially you've got HURD fighting Lara once again if Lara is to get past Danny Garcia. That could be it based on name recognition, but in terms of Rosario, who I agree with you, I think he put more effort into the fight last night. In terms of him stepping into a world title fight, I don't really see it. I think it would be a hard sell. I think they'd have to fight someone else on the way up as well, almost like a title eliminator type situation. And again, it's going to be a name recognition thing that gets them into that position. But
What about Adames giving his countryman a title shot?
I think it would be a really hard pill to swallow for the other contenders in the division, younger, hungrier guys who are coming up, to have that happen. Again, name recognition goes a long way, but I don't know how much name recognition even Carlos Adames has that he could be able to fight a guy like Rosario. But listen, we live in a strange time where if Turki Al-Sheikh likes it, or if someone wants to put it on an undercard, we get these fights made. But in terms of their performance last night, it's really hard for me to see either one of these guys stepping into a world title picture anytime soon, a world title fight anytime soon. It's one of those things where you get guys in their primes and you get a great fight, right? And the fight was good, and you got two guys who were sub-prime, who are both kind of diminished to the same degree, and you still got a good fight. It was still an entertaining fight. But in terms of the level, like you said, Champ, we have got guys on our air nowhere near the name recognition, nowhere near the accomplishments in their career, who put on absolute barn burners. Last night wasn't a barn burner. It was a nice competitive back-and-forth fight. The draw was probably right. It was probably the correct outcome. HURD early with his boxing ability, Rosario late with his effort, a lot of choppy rounds in the middle. The judges' scorecard showed that. One judge had it for HURD, one judge had it for Rosario, other judge had it straight down the middle. I mean, it's hard to argue with that from what the action looked like. But in terms of where they go next, like I said, I think they've neutralized their forward momentum on both of them. Now that at least they're active, people have seen them again, their names are popping around again. But in terms of them stepping into something bigger and brighter, I'm not really sure that they're at that point yet. They're going to probably have to get another win in order to step into that position.
Yeah, by the way, if you missed it live, the entire fight card from Wednesday Night Fights is on YouTube, so you can catch all the fights, including a pretty impressive victory by Dominic Valle. That Pedraíta guy is very tough, so he gave Valle a good fight there, 8 rounds there. Check it out on YouTube. All right, thank you very much, champs. We appreciate it. And we'd like to remind you to scan the QR code and everything that is available on ProBox TV. Check it out on the app, where apps are available, including the best live fight series in all of boxing, Wednesday Night Fights. I'm George DiMattelis. This is Top Stories, or Boxing Scene's Top Stories on ProBox TV, your boxing channel.
Wednesday Night Fights.
Dynamite action on Wednesday Night Fights every other Wednesday on your boxing channel.
Coming up on your next Wednesday Night Fights, September 11th, rising Guatemalan star Lester Martinez puts his O on the line against fellow undefeated warrior Joshawn Showtime James. Live from the ProBox Event Center in Plant City. Get your tickets at proboxtv.com or take your chances at the door. Wednesday Night Fights.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.